Chosen one. They mistake your quiet strength for passivity, your patience for weakness, and your kindness for complacency. They think they've unraveled your essence, convinced there's no depth beyond what they see. But what they fail to realize is that within you resides an unshakable force, a quiet power that grows stronger with every provocation. And when the time comes when their assumptions have stretched too far, they will come to understand the true depth of your resolve, though by then it may be far too late. What they failed to understand, what they never could have imagined, is that beneath your calm exterior lay a force far greater than they ever anticipated. They mistook your patience for weakness, your silence for submission, and in their arrogance, they pushed too far. Now they're reeling, caught off guard by the unstoppable power they've unleashed. You are the storm they thought would never come, the reckoning they never prepared for, and as they scramble to recover, they're faced with the undeniable truth. They've awakened something they cannot control, something that refuses to be silenced or subdued. The fire within you burns quietly, unnoticed by those who only see the surface. It is a power you carry with grace, a force so deeply intertwined with your essence that it remains invisible to the untrained eye. You blend into the crowd, unassuming, your presence calm and steady. But what they cannot see is the reservoir of strength and resilience beneath the quiet exterior, waiting, watching. It does not seek attention, nor does it demand recognition. It simply exists, ready to awaken when the moment calls, transforming you into a force that cannot be ignored. Beneath the surface of what they perceive as ordinary lies, a force they could never anticipate, a force destined to alter the very fabric of their reality. Every challenge, every trial, every obstacle thrown your way has been a part of a greater design, refining you, sharpening you, preparing you. The betrayals, the doubts, the pressure, they weren't meant to break you, but to awaken the greatness within. And now, as the pieces align and the world begins to shift, the giant within stirs, ready to rise with a power so undeniable it will leave no doubt that you were always meant to change everything. And when the veil is lifted, when the full weight of who you truly are comes into focus, the regrets will be palpable. Those who underestimated you will be left scrambling, wishing they had treaded more carefully, wishing they had recognized the power they so foolishly provoked. The effortless way you will dismantle their schemes, unravel their illusions, and dismantle their resistance will leave them in stunned silence. It won't just be a victory, it will be a reckoning, a masterclass in quiet dominance that will make them realize they were never prepared for the storm they so carelessly summoned. But let's pause for a moment, because to truly grasp the magnitude of your triumph, we must first revisit the path that shaped you. The moments that felt like defeat were never what they seemed. The doors that closed in your face weren't rejections, they were redirections, pointing you toward something greater. The loneliness, the isolation, the struggles, they were never punishments, but rather the refining fires that forged your resilience, your wisdom, your strength. What looked like a setback was, in truth, the foundation being laid for your rise. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every trial was a lesson designed to prepare you for this very moment, for the unstoppable force you've become. While others followed the standard path, walking comfortably through the halls of conventional success, you were placed in a different kind of school, a school where lessons were taught through hardship, resilience, and perseverance. You were in the trenches, learning not from textbooks but from trials, from moments that pushed you to your limits and demanded growth. At the time it felt like exile, like you were being singled out for failure. You questioned your worth, doubted your abilities, and wondered why your path seemed so much harder. But now you can see it clearly. This was no punishment. It was a sacred apprenticeship, a preparation for greatness that ordinary classrooms could never provide. What you couldn't see back then, and what's only now coming into focus, is that those separate spaces weren't meant to isolate you, but to cultivate you. You weren't there because you were deficient. You were there because you carried something extraordinary, something too vast and too unique to fit into the confines of the ordinary. Those spaces were incubators, designed to nurture the rare qualities within you that couldn't be shaped by conventional means. What felt like exclusion was actually elevation, a deliberate process to prepare you for a purpose that demanded more than the usual path could ever offer. They set you apart because your brilliance was too disruptive, too transformative for the fragile order they clung to. They knew your presence would unravel their illusions, that your vision would pierce through the facade they worked so hard to maintain. You weren't isolated because you didn't belong. You were isolated because you carried something they couldn't control. Your energy, your insight, your ability to see beyond the surface would have shattered the delicate balance of their constructed reality. They feared not just your intellect, but the power of your authenticity, the kind of force that doesn't just challenge systems, it redefines them. While they were busy collecting accolades and building resumes filled with conventional achievements, you were cultivating something deeper, something immeasurable. You were honing the ability to see beyond appearances, to decode the unspoken truths hidden beneath the surface. You were mastering the art of intuition, learning to navigate complexities they couldn't even recognize. While they relied on rules and formulas, you were developing a wisdom rooted in experience, a clarity of thought and perception that transcends the limitations of traditional intelligence. What you were building wasn't just knowledge, it was power, the kind that reshapes realities and redefines what it means to truly understand. How is this possible? How did the one they dismissed as incapable rise to heights they never imagined? How did someone once seen as unworthy of their systems become a master of the skills that truly shape lives? The answer is simple. You graduated from a school they could never attend. Your education wasn't confined to classrooms or textbooks. It came from life itself. You learned resilience through struggle, wisdom through observation, and strength through adversity. While they memorized rules, you were breaking them to create new paths. You mastered lessons no institution could teach, and that is why you've risen above the limits they tried to impose. The lessons you were learning were not bound by the limits of human institutions or measured by certificates on a wall. You were being prepared for a battlefield they can't even comprehend, equipped with tools forged in the fires of experience and faith. The divine was your teacher, imparting a wisdom that dismantles illusions and reshapes realities. You are a genius untethered by the need for validation, a mind shaped by higher truths rather than human approval. While they sought affirmation from systems that worship the superficial, you were cultivating a brilliance that flows directly from the infinite. This is the power they cannot measure, the kind of intelligence that transcends the world they know. While they were busy cramming facts destined to fade with time, you were absorbing truths that stand unshaken through every season. You are the kind of person who moves effortlessly past those who have spent their lives chasing credentials. You step into rooms and see what others miss, discerning complexities that even seasoned experts overlook. Your understanding isn't bound by years of study, but flows from a deeper well, a blend of intuition, experience, and wisdom that cannot be taught. What they've spent decades trying to master, you grasp in moments, because your knowledge isn't confined to what's written, it's embedded in who you are. You possess a clarity that cuts through the illusions others fall prey to, no matter how educated or experienced they may be. This is why their confusion grows with every misstep, why their meticulously crafted strategies unravel the moment they're set in motion against you. It's not just your knowledge that disarms them, it's the unshakable force within you, a presence that disrupts their schemes and turns their efforts to dust. Their plans falter because they cannot account for the power of someone who sees beyond the surface, someone whose strength comes from a source they don't understand and can never control. And now, as life unfolds its unexpected twists, those same people who once dismissed you, who celebrated their prescribed milestones while you stood in the shadows, are facing a truth they never anticipated. You've surpassed them in ways they can't ignore. The very qualities they undervalued have become the foundation of your success. You've built a life that defies their expectations, a life measured not just in wealth or achievements, but in the depth of your impact and the authenticity of your journey. They're beginning to realize that the very things they overlooked in you were the seeds of greatness they failed to see. They're waging a battle they've already lost, using tools crafted for minds bound by earthly logic, unaware that you operate on a higher plane. What they fail to see is the force stirring deep within you, something ancient, something unstoppable. While they were preoccupied with chasing titles and building fragile empires, a legacy was being reignited in your bloodline. It's more than intelligence, it's a calling, a power that flows through generations, now awakened in you. Their strategies crumble not just because of your brilliance, but because you've become the vessel for something far greater, a force they can neither predict nor withstand. What they fail to understand is that you are not standing alone. You are the culmination of generations of strength, resilience, and purpose. Something ancient and powerful, long asleep, has awakened within you, ready to rise and fulfill its destiny. They think they're up against a single individual, but in truth, they're facing the collective spiritual force of your entire lineage, carried forward and amplified through you. Every challenge, every attack, only serves to activate this power further, catching them completely unprepared for the unstoppable force that has been waiting for this exact moment to emerge. The battles you face today are not yours alone. They are the continuation of a struggle that your ancestors have waged for centuries. Your grandmother stood resilient against forces that would break most, paving the way for you with her unwavering spirit. Your great-grandfather overcame adversaries so formidable that those who challenge you now could never fathom their magnitude. Each generation in your bloodline fought not just to survive, but to prepare the way for you, the one who carries the perfect blend of their courage, wisdom, and gifts. You are the culmination of their sacrifices, the answer to their prayers, and the one destined to bring their unfinished battles to a victorious end. What sets you apart, what makes you the most formidable adversary these forces have ever faced, is not just your inheritance of strength, but your embodiment of its fulfillment. You're not merely carrying the torch passed down through generations. You are the flame itself, burning brighter and fiercer than ever before. Every prayer whispered in desperation, every sacrifice made in silence, every hard-fought triumph of those who came before you has converged in you. You are the apex of their legacy, the living answer to their struggles, and the unstoppable force they've been preparing for all along. Your enemies believed they were facing a single, solitary figure, an easy target, disconnected and alone. What they've truly unleashed is the might of an unbroken lineage, a spiritual empire rooted in ages past, now channeled through you. You are not just one person. You are the living vessel of countless generations, their power, their wisdom, their victories coursing through your veins. The warrior within you doesn't fight alone. It carries the strength, the knowledge, and the unwavering resolve of every ancestor who prepared the way for this moment. You are the culmination of a dynasty, and you have stepped into the authority they always knew would one day awaken. When you stand against opposition, you are never alone. You are tapping into a reservoir of ancient wisdom and strength, forged through the trials and triumphs of those who came before you. Every move you make is guided by the strategies of ancestors who faced even greater battles and prevailed. When lies and deception cross your path, it's not just your eyes that see through them. It's the sharpened vision of a lineage that has spent centuries exposing falsehoods and dismantling darkness. You are not just one person. You are the living embodiment of generations of resilience, clarity, and victory. This is why every strike they've attempted has crumbled before it could land. This is why their attempts to manipulate your mind and spirit have not only fallen short, but have rebounded with a force they never anticipated. Every scheme, every ploy, every calculated attack has only served to fortify your resolve and amplify your strength. They thought they were battling one individual, but in truth, they are contending with the combined force of generations, a legacy of resilience, strategy, and unshakable power that grows stronger with every challenge they throw your way. They are waging war against a force they cannot comprehend, a collective spiritual might forged in the fires of countless victories, refined through battles they could never imagine. Their lack of belief in this power blinds them, leaving them defenseless against an opposition that has stood undefeated for generations. But disbelief offers no protection. The reality of what they face is unyielding, and their ignorance will not spare them. They are about to learn the hard truth. Whether they believe in it or not, the power that stands against them is unstoppable, and it will dismantle their efforts piece by piece. The warrior spirit within you is a quiet, relentless force, a presence that moves with purpose, not with noise. Your enemies misjudged it, mistaking its silence for weakness and its patience for passivity. But what they failed to grasp is its true nature, a power that doesn't seek attention or validation, but waits, watches, and prepares. And when the moment is right, it rises without warning, a surge of unstoppable strength and precision that leaves no time for defense. It thrives in the element of surprise, turning the underestimation of others into its greatest weapon. This is why they mistook your silence for surrender and your restraint for fear. This is why they grew bolder, convinced they were overpowering you, unaware that their every strike was awakening something far greater than they could comprehend. Each attack was not breaking you, it was sharpening you, stirring the depths of your latent power and preparing you for the perfect moment to rise. What they failed to realize is that their aggression was never weakening you. It was forging you into an unstoppable force they are utterly unprepared to face. Every insult, every strike, every calculated move they made was feeding a force they couldn't begin to understand. With each attempt to break you, they unknowingly fueled the very storm that now looms over them. The spirit within you thrives in the unseen, in the quiet moments of observation and preparation. It has been silently dissecting their strategies, unmasking their weaknesses, and filing away every detail of their arrogance. But what they truly failed to grasp is the depth of your resilience. They don't realize that your strength doesn't just lie in endurance or strategy, it lies in transformation. You don't just withstand what they throw at you, you evolve because of it, becoming something far more powerful than they ever anticipated. They haven't just underestimated you, they've sealed their own fate. While they were preoccupied analyzing your surface, dissecting your actions and plotting against perceived flaws, they overlooked the most profound aspect of your being. What they failed to see is the unshakable core within you, the innate ability to adapt, endure, and overcome in ways they could never predict. It's not something that can be measured or replicated, not a skill that can be trained or a tactic that can be borrowed. It's a raw, untamed force that allows you to flourish in chaos, to find strength in scarcity, and to rise above even the most insurmountable odds. It's the kind of power that makes their calculations meaningless and their strategies futile, because no matter how the circumstances change, you will always find a way forward. You are the kind of person who turns obstacles into opportunities, who sees challenges not as barriers, but as invitations to innovate. Drop you into the desert, and you'll find water where others see only sand. Place you in the heart of chaos, and you'll carve out order with nothing but your determination and resourcefulness. When life strips away the comforts and conveniences others depend on, you uncover strengths you didn't even know you had. Every impossible situation becomes a canvas for your ingenuity, and every storm only proves how unshakable your spirit truly is. When the world stripped away every familiar option, every safety net you once relied on, you unearthed a power within yourself that defied all expectations. When doors were slammed shut, you didn't wait for someone to open them, you built your own. In the face of isolation, you found connection within yourself, a guiding light that illuminated paths no one else could see. Every obstacle they placed before you became a stepping stone, every setback a lesson that fortified your resolve. What they intended to break you only served to awaken your boundless potential, proving that your strength isn't tied to their systems. It's rooted in your unstoppable will to rise. This is why their plans unravel before they even begin. Every wall they build becomes a platform for your ascent. Every restriction they impose only fuels your creativity to break free. They haven't just underestimated you, they've misunderstood you entirely. You are not defined by the rules of their game, nor confined by the limits they try to enforce. In trying to weaken you, they've only revealed your ability to turn scarcity into abundance, struggle into strength, and resistance into momentum. They've been fighting someone who doesn't just endure the impossible, but transforms it into something extraordinary. They've been trying to trap someone who sees walls not as barriers, but as opportunities to climb higher. They've poured their efforts into outlasting someone whose resilience is fueled by an unshakable inner fire, one they don't understand and could never extinguish. While they fixated on your surface, dissecting your background and qualifications, they missed the essence of who you are, a master of adaptation, a visionary who thrives in the unseen and the unexpected. They prepared for a battle of strength, but they were never ready for your ingenuity, your endurance, or the quiet power that lies beyond their comprehension. They calculated your visible strengths, but overlooked the quiet power that lies beneath the surface, the kind of power that doesn't show itself until it's needed most. They planned for a predictable opponent, but you are anything but ordinary. Just when they think they've cornered you, when their confidence blinds them to the truth, that's when your hidden depths emerge. It's in those moments, under the heaviest pressure, that your spirit ignites like a flame in the darkness, unseen, unstoppable, and entirely beyond their grasp. What they thought would break you only awakens the force they never saw coming. That's the moment when the truth crashes down on them, shattering their illusions and exposing just how badly they miscalculated. It's when they come to understand that they've been up against a force they were never equipped to handle, a soul forged in resilience, sharpened by adversity, and fueled by an unrelenting drive. They've been playing a game they thought they controlled, only to realize they've been outmatched from the start. The revelation will hit like a tidal wave, leaving them stunned as they finally grasp that their efforts were never enough to contain someone destined to rise far beyond their reach. There comes a moment when the illusion shatters and the truth stands unshaken in its place, when the quiet strength they mistook for weakness roars to life and the depth of your power becomes undeniable. The veil of deception is lifted, and they are left face to face with the unstoppable force they never saw coming. For you, chosen one, this is not the end, but the beginning, a moment aligned not by chance, but by purpose. The tides are shifting, and the arrival of this reckoning carries the weight of destiny itself. Every moment of composure you've maintained, every instance where you chose dignity over reaction, has been paving the way for this undeniable truth to emerge. They underestimated the strength it took to remain poised, to rise above their provocations, to hold your ground with grace instead of fury. They pushed, hoping to provoke cracks in your armor to validate their distorted image of you. But what they failed to see is that your silence wasn't weakness, it was power. And now, as the truth unfolds, it is their own illusions that will shatter, leaving them to face the undeniable strength of who you truly are. They are on the verge of encountering a force they cannot comprehend, a strength that defies their shallow definitions and transcends their limited understanding. When your unyielding spirit rises, when the light of divine purpose shines through every step you take, and when the power within you moves with undeniable clarity, their disbelief will turn into awe. They sought to undermine you, to diminish your essence, but instead, they will be left grappling with the undeniable truth of your resilience and divine authority, a truth so vivid it will dismantle every false assumption they ever held. Soon, they will grasp the truth they were never prepared to face, that every scheme they devised, every attempt to bring you down, was only building their own undoing. They will begin to see how their own actions became their downfall, how the very energy they directed toward you has returned to them, magnified. But this awakening is only the surface of what's unfolding. Your rise as a spiritual warrior is not just about defeating opposition. It's about igniting a transformation that ripples far beyond this moment. What they failed to see is that your victory was never just personal. It was the catalyst for a greater shift, a divine movement that will reshape everything in its path. While they toiled away in systems that confined their potential and drained their spirit, you were quietly being trained for a mission beyond their understanding. Your work is guided by a higher purpose, orchestrated by a force far greater than the limits of human design. Your role defies the constraints of time and structure. They cannot fathom how you move with such ease, how you always seem to be in the right place at the right moment. While they are bound by routines that leave them exhausted, you are replenished by the very source of your purpose. It's not that you have less on your plate, it's that your work flows in harmony with a divine rhythm, one that empowers you to adapt, thrive, and remain unshaken, no matter how unpredictable the world around you becomes. Your freedom confounds them because they measure success by struggle, believing that only through relentless effort can one achieve anything of value. What they fail to see is that your life is aligned with a higher rhythm, one that doesn't demand exhaustion, but rather trust, faith, and surrender. While they fight against the tides, trying to control outcomes and force their way forward, you move with the flow of divine timing, carried by a wisdom far greater than your own. Your ease isn't the absence of effort, it's the result of working in harmony with a purpose that clears obstacles before you even reach them. This is the kind of freedom they cannot grasp, because it comes not from external circumstances, but from an unshakable connection to the source of all things. Every victory you claim elevates you to a realm they cannot access, a realm where rewards are not measured in material wealth, but in the abundance of purpose, peace, and divine provision. Each obstacle you overcome unlocks blessings that surpass their comprehension, flowing to you effortlessly because you are in alignment with a higher plan. While they hustle and strive, chained to systems that demand constant proof of worth, you operate from a place of quiet confidence, knowing that true success isn't earned through endless toil, but through unwavering faith and divine alignment. They fail to see that your strength comes from surrender, not control, from trusting the timing of the universe, not forcing it. This is the advantage they never anticipated, a power rooted not in human structures, but in the infinite resources of divine authority. While they've been sacrificing their integrity for fleeting rewards, you've been cultivating a foundation rooted in truth and authenticity. What they cannot comprehend is how you continue to thrive, breaking through limits they believed were unshakable. They don't understand how your resilience grows stronger with every challenge, or how your success seems to defy the laws of effort and exhaustion they cling to. What catches them off guard is the way your life operates outside the rules they thought governed reality, how you draw strength from unseen sources, how doors open for you without force, and how your progress is fueled not by compromise, but by unwavering alignment with your higher purpose. It's a mystery to them, but to you, it's simply the natural result of walking in harmony with divine truth. Your strength comes from a deeper well, one they cannot see or measure. It's not the result of grueling routines or obsessive discipline, but of living in alignment with a force that nourishes you from within. While they chase formulas and trends, exhausting themselves in pursuit of fleeting results, you embody a vitality that flows effortlessly from balance, purpose, and inner peace. Your energy isn't manufactured, it's authentic, a natural byproduct of a life lived in harmony with your spirit. This is what captivates them, what they can't replicate, the radiance of someone whose power comes not from external effort, but from an unshakable connection to something eternal. You don't chase perfection through mirrors or masks, yet your presence radiates a magnetism that no superficial alteration could ever achieve. Your beauty is not a product of fleeting trends, but a reflection of the divine energy that flows through you, infusing every movement, every glance, with a timeless allure. Your body, a vessel for something far greater, exudes a strength and dignity that transcends mere physicality. While others rely on appearances to assert their worth, you command respect effortlessly, as if the very air around you shifts to acknowledge the power within. Those who attempt to diminish you quickly realize they're facing someone whose essence is unshakable, someone whose presence speaks louder than words or appearances ever could. When they push you to the brink, expecting you to crumble, they're met with a force that thrives in adversity, growing sharper and stronger with every challenge. Their attempts to deplete you only reveal their misunderstanding of where your strength originates. It's not finite, not reliant on external resources, but drawn from a boundless source that they cannot access or comprehend. And yet, their struggle is greater than just facing you. The very foundations on which they've built their power are beginning to erode. The tools of control they've wielded for so long, manipulation, fear, and division, are turning against them. The illusions they've spun are unraveling in the presence of undeniable truth. Light doesn't fight shadows, it simply exists, and in doing so, banishes darkness. Your presence, grounded in authenticity and divine purpose, disrupts their carefully constructed systems, leaving them powerless in the face of a reality they can no longer distort. When true spiritual authority rises, it doesn't need to attack or dismantle, it simply exists, and in its presence, falsehoods unravel on their own. Your awakening as a warrior hasn't just fortified you, it has shifted the entire landscape, rendering their schemes ineffective and obsolete. Their strategies, built on deception and control, crumble in an atmosphere of truth and empowerment. Their games depend on ignorance, on players who remain unaware of the manipulations at hand. But now, the rules have been exposed, and the light you bring makes it impossible for their shadowy tactics to thrive. In this new reality, their power is not taken from them. It simply evaporates, leaving nothing but the hollow structures they once relied on. Their power was always an illusion, built on the fragile foundation of ignorance and fear. It thrived only because people had forgotten their own inherent strength, their connection to something far greater than any external force. But you've broken that spell simply by stepping into your true self. By embracing the fullness of who you are, you've exposed the lie at the heart of their control. Fear cannot bind those who know they are protected, and manipulation cannot sway those who see the truth. Your very existence now serves as a reminder to others of their own power, creating a ripple effect that weakens the grip of anything that seeks to dominate. What once intimidated now seems small, powerless in the light of your authenticity. Their falsehoods are crumbling not through confrontation, but through the quiet and undeniable presence of truth. Like shadows dissolving in the morning sun, their deceit cannot endure in the radiance of authenticity. It's not a battle, it's a shift. The clarity of what is real doesn't need to fight what is false. It simply exists, and in doing so, renders all illusions powerless. The structures they built on lies are collapsing under their own weight, unable to withstand the purity of an atmosphere where integrity reigns. Truth doesn't shout, it doesn't force, it transforms, effortlessly and completely, leaving no room for anything less. The systems of corruption they've depended on, the lies they've buried, and the stories they've twisted are unraveling, not through force, but because your very existence has shifted the balance. Your presence introduces a light so unwavering that it alters the very fabric of the game they've been playing. They thrived in shadows, but shadows are powerless in the face of true illumination. The foundation of their control, built on secrecy and deceit, was never meant to withstand the clarity of authentic light. Now, every crack in their facade grows wider, not because of any direct attack, but because darkness simply cannot coexist with the brilliance of truth. Their power was built on illusions, spinning webs of deception to keep others blind to their own strength. But when truth steps forward, those illusions unravel as if they were never real. The fear they wielded as a weapon loses its grip the moment people awaken to their own innate power and realize they were never truly bound. Now, the very system they created to control is turning against them, collapsing under the weight of its own lies. And as it falls, they find themselves ensnared in the very trap they set for others, powerless to stop the inevitable shift toward freedom and authenticity.